Now we're continuing our episode for Nile cruise today, and we're still focusing on the importance of Al-Azhar and its role in promoting the teaching of Islam to the whole Muslim nation. And our guest today to know more about Al-Azhar and its role is Dr. Ahmed Hamza, and he's an assistant lecturer of Al-Azhar University and member of Azhar Observatory for combating extremism. Hello, sir, and welcome to our show.
Dr. Ahmed, thank you very much for being with us today on Nile Cruise. The culture of Islam in terms of coexistence and peace is so important that Al-Azhar had taken the role to be spreading those ideas throughout the world. How do you see the importance of Al-Azhar in spreading these concepts?
First of all, thank you for being with you today, and welcome to you and to the viewers, your viewers all over the world. In fact, the problem, among the main problems facing our world today, especially the Arab world, are those issues related to the concepts of citizenship, coexistence, diversity, and Al-Azhar Sharif is trying to promote these concepts in our societies, especially in the Muslim and Arab worlds, because Al-Azhar considers these values as religious ones, not just social values or some modern values brought to us from the West. These are originally Islamic concepts that has been brought by Islam from the very beginning of the Islamic State nation. When the Prophet ﷺ migrated to Medina, the Prophet concluded an agreement with the people of Medina, which came to be known later as the Constitution of Medina. This constitution approved the rights of all citizens in Medina, who at the time included non-Muslim, for example, the Jews. So Al-Azhar is focusing on these principles, that these are religious concepts that we need to promote in our societies, and we need to learn our children, our youth, how to act and how to apply this concept in our life. In doing so, Al-Azhar has taken different steps to promote and spread these events. And to give just one example, last year Al-Azhar held a conference called Citizenship and Freedom, Diversity and Integration. And the purpose of this conference was to call upon all Muslims to apply these rules in our life, especially the youth. And I need to give just one example about how Al-Azhar deals with the rules of citizenship, is that the Grand Imam himself is always stresses that he refused the term of minority. He considers the term minority as discriminatory term. Any group, regardless of its number, are citizens who have the full rights, the full duties, like any other group in society. This applies to the Muslim world, if there are non-Muslim groups in our society, and applies to the non-Muslim world, regarding the Muslim communities in these lands. So always the Grand Imam is calling upon Muslims in the West, for example, to integrate positively into their own societies, because they are full citizens. This is the rule of Al-Azhar on the intellectual level, how to apply these rules on intellectual or theoretical framework, let us say that. But this is not the only way Al-Azhar deals with this concept. Al-Azhar is taking other practical steps in this regard. And there are many initiatives in this regard, but to give only one example, we need to look at the Beit al-Aila al-Masri, the Egyptian family house. This is a practical step about how to integrate and how to spread and how to apply this concept in society through the different committees of this house. For example, the Educational Committee, which is working with the Ministry of Education to refine our school curricula if there is something that may give an idea about discrimination against any group of the society. So Al-Azhar not only working in the intellectual side, but also the practical side.
Yes.
Sir, what are the tools the Azhar is using in order to eliminate the wrong misconception about Islam?
Yes, in the recent couple of years, the number of terrorist groups has increased. And we started to listen about many numbers and many terrorist groups. And it was necessary that Al-Azhar taking a critical step in this regard. So in 2014, with the appearance of ISIS, Al-Azhar has made a conference about terrorism in which he invited different religious leaders from different countries of the world representing different religions. But in the following years, in 2015, Al-Azhar has instituted and established its observatory, Al-Azhar Observatory. What is the purpose and objective of this observatory? Al-Azhar had found that it is not suitable now to fight and counter terrorist ideas through traditional ways. We need to adopt modern technology. So through the Al-Azhar Observatory, Al-Azhar is trying to monitor and to follow up all materials produced by terrorist groups, analyze their arguments, make a process of deconstruction of their arguments. After this, all this analysis and deconstructions are given to a scholarly committee from scholars of Al-Azhar who are from different specialities to try to provide us with the correct and moderate understanding of Islam about this concept and these claims. Through the continuity of the work, the observatory, we had much materials in this regard. But now we know that most people are not concerned in reading lengthy discussion. They just read to have something short and concise to read. So we started to make some campaigns to provide the audience with these tips that they need to know. We have different campaigns in the observatory. To give just two campaigns, we have the campaign about the concept of jihad, which provides something like tips about what is the nature and the true nature of jihad. We have also the campaign is called They Claim and We Refute. In this campaign, we just present the claim raised by this group and provide the correct understanding of this claim. Claims about khilafah, about democracy, about integration, about dealing with non-Muslims, about migration, because some terrorist groups are calling Muslims just to migrate to the land as it happened in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So through different works in the observatory, we are monitoring whatever is said about Islam and whatever is raised by this group and try to correct it using the same techniques, using the social media, because this is the media of our modern time.
Yes, what about the importance of ties between Egypt and the outer world? Because we did see today that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is receiving the Portuguese president, and we do know that the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmed al-Tayyib, had paid a recent visit to Portugal, and a lot of good ties were established during such a visit. What about the importance of Al-Azhar and the Grand Imam's ties with the outer world, with the Western world, and specifically Portugal, as we are receiving today the Portuguese president here in Egypt?
In fact, Al-Azhar is an international institution, but it is an Egyptian institution. So the main concerns of the Egyptian society are the main concern of Al-Azhar itself. In the recent years, Al-Azhar found it is not sufficient to work in the local region or the local arena. We need to extend to the outer world, because after the appearance of these terrorist groups, the image of Islam has been distorted. And we need to present the true image of Islam, the image that we have learned and understood from Al-Azhar al-Sharif. So the Grand Imam started different journeys through different countries in the world, visit different capitals, countries in the world, to present this is the true Islam and how we understand Islam in that way. And in different places the Grand Imam is going, he receives a great esteem, the esteem from his personality as a Grand Imam and from the esteem of the Azhar al-Sharif itself. Today's visit is, it was a back visit to the visit of the Grand Imam last month. He visited Portuguese. So the president of Portuguese has found it is a good idea to come and visit the Grand Imam again in Egypt. So in this way, Al-Azhar is spreading the culture of peace around the world and also is conveying the Egyptian understanding of how to deal with the other world.
So what are the challenges facing Al-Azhar in light of the new tools of technology like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram?
In fact, we are living now in an open world. It is not possible to control the spread of ideas. The idea of having some books containing some radical thoughts is an old idea. Now just it is one idea with one click you can spread your idea to millions and millions of followers. So as long as it is very difficult and very hard to control the spread of these ideas because it requires an integration and collaboration from different institutions, agencies, countries around the world, and there is some effort is done in this regard. But the practical issue is try to use the same means and the same technique. The terrorist group are using social media, now we are using social media. They are speaking to the outer world, we are speaking to the outer world in their own language. So we have now researchers who are specialized in Islamic Sharia and also speaking the foreign language they have studied in these countries. So we are using the same techniques and the same methodologies used by these groups to counter their arguments.
Yes, Dr. Ahmed, you said that there is a campaign or an initiative called They Claim and We Refute. What about the frequent allegations that Al-Azhar is fighting back?
Again?
What about the frequent allegations that Al-Azhar is fighting back about terrorism and the misconceptions about Islam?
If we are speaking about the frequent allegations, there are so many because every day they produce new ideas. But if we are speaking about the main allegation, the most important, or let us say the most dangerous allegation, in my view, we are speaking about the concept of jihad and the idea of killing in the name of Islam. Because they are totally killing in the name of Islam, totally contradicting to Islam. In Islam we have jihad, but how we understand jihad, this is completely different from other groups understanding jihad. So the idea here is to present the true and the real concept of jihad. This is one way. And with regard to killing in the name of Islam, this is something cannot be believed because when Islam came to preserve the human soul and to provide peace to the whole world. With this allegation, they start bombing people, they start using cars to make accidents in outside world, using knives. So this, I think, is the most dangerous claim. And the other is doing its utmost effort to state that Islam had nothing to do with all these allegations and claims.
Sir, what is the role played by Azhar in order to support the Muslim people living abroad, especially in the West, and of course the challenges they are facing nowadays?
Yes. This is very good because Al-Azhar is considered speaking in the name of all Muslims around the world. In this regard, there are many initiatives in this regard. Just to start, we have something called Qafil Salam, Peace in Voice. In this Peace in Voice, a group from Azhar scholars who are speaking foreign language are visiting different countries around the world. They visit Muslims in these countries, they visit Islamic centers, and they try to present the Islamic understanding of the mainstream concepts. This is number one. Number two, this envoys start to listen from Muslims in these countries. What are their main questions? What are their main concerns? And after returning, every envoy presents a report about the main concerns for the people in this regard. And in this way, Al-Azhar start to act on solving if there is a way to solve some problems. This happened, for example, in many countries. This is number one. And number two, Al-Azhar is standing always beside any just cause for Muslims. For example, the cause of Jerusalem. Al-Azhar is standing firmly behind this cause. What happened to the Muslim Rohingya Muslim? Al-Azhar is standing firmly behind their issue. And we visited the Rohingya Muslim in Bangladesh and presented aid for Muslims.
Yes, what about the misconceptions, as you said, and the questions and the thoughts about the non-Muslims about Islam? How about the reaction of the non-Muslims when they meet with the delegations of Al-Azhar, when they meet with the campaigners of Al-Azhar in their hometown and their home country?
In fact, the problem here is the problem of media in the West, because the louder voice is the voice of tourists around the world, because it's something special. But when the Muslim facing groups or envoys from Al-Azhar, they change their ideas about Islam completely. They say that this is the Islam that we used to hear about in the past, but we didn't find. But with the groups of Muslims visiting them, from Al-Azhar visiting them, they change their ideas completely, and this appears in their visits to Al-Azhar and the observatory. When they hear about the observatory, they insist about visiting Al-Azhar and its observatory to find what is going on, and they state that this is a great work. We are following even abroad.
Well, Dr. Ahmed Hamza, Assistant Lecturer of Al-Azhar University and member of Al-Azhar Observatory for Combating Extremism, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this brings us to the end of this part of the program. We'll be taking a quick break and we'll be returning once again to you on Nile Cruise.